Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to the Easy Email Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today I'm sharing with you my ultimate email marketing shortcuts. But they may not be what you think. It only takes a minute of scrolling through your Facebook feed to see a barrage of ads for different shortcuts. I'm sure you have seen them. 52 fill-in-the-blank email templates, one for every week of the year. Or the welcome sequence swipe file, my exact 5 email sequence word for word. Or the AI email writing kit, 100 ChatGPT prompts that write your emails for you. Or I love ones like this. I made 11K from one email. Here's the template. Or my clients pay me 3K to write their email strategy, but I've turned it into a custom GPT, which you can get for only $27. There is a name for all of this, and it's called the shortcut economy. This is a whole market built entirely on the promise that the hard part of email marketing or anything can be bypassed if you just have the right resource, the right template, the right prompt, the right custom GPT. And I'll confess, I have shared tools and resources like this because there isn't actually something inherently wrong with these products. They are not useless. Well, some of them might be, but most of them, they do have some benefit. And some of them are helpful tools. The problem is how they are positioned as the shortcut to your email marketing results, as if this is just the one thing that was missing, and now you can just plug it in and she'll be right. But they're not. Because the thing about shortcuts is this. They only work when you know where you are going. So a shortcut assumes you have a destination in mind. It assumes you have a clear picture on what the endpoint looks like, and you're just finding a faster route to get there. Without that, it's not a shortcut. It's going on some road in a random direction. So in email marketing, most people haven't established that destination beyond thinking, I want to make more sales. They don't know what a well-functioning email system looks like from the inside. They don't know which of their numbers are telling them if something's broken or what fixed, in quotation marks, is supposed to feel like. So, they just go for the template, the swipe file, the GPT, the quick win. But you can't shortcut your way to a destination you haven't set. You'll move faster, but you'll end up somewhere you never didn't intend. Sure, maybe sometimes. On a random occasion, it could end up in a beautiful place that you weren't expecting. Awesome. But it's not always the case. The other thing about shortcuts, and this is where it can get interesting, is that even when you do know exactly where you're going, they still don't always work. So one thing I secretly pride myself on is my knack for navigation. I have always scoffed at that book title. I don't know if you remember. It was like Why Men Don't Listen and Why Women Can't Read Maps. Because let me tell you, I am the pro map reader, and my hubby, I'll tell you, he could not read one to save his life. I grew up learning to drive in the days way before Google Maps and sat-navs, and we had to use those big street directories, and I had those masters. The real test came when I drove 16,000 kilometres around Canada, backpacking with some friends, on the wrong side of the road, mind you. Now, we were backpacking, so we were doing it on the cheap. We did not have a data plan, and we definitely had limited data on our phones. Google Maps did exist at this stage, but we only could use Wi-Fi whenever we were at the hostels, which means every morning I'd have to pull up the route on Google Maps and write down every single direction by hand, and off we'd go. And we drove the whole country that way, and I think I only got majorly lost once. That was a bit of a stressful day, but overall, I think I did a good job. So navigation, not my weak point. But it doesn't even matter if you have that general sense of direction. So say back when Oakley was young enough, my dog Oakley is now 17 and very lazy, but back when he was younger, we would go on these proper hikes out bush, those long exploratory walks in and exploring all sorts of new places. And you sort of jet out thinking, we'll follow along this path. And you kind of get to this point where you go, it's taking a lot longer than I thought, or I need to get back to something. But being the expert in sense of direction that I am, I'd be like, you know what? If we just cut through there, if we take that shortcut, we should hit the path on the way back, or we should get to the exit quicker. And while, yes, when it was the right direction, more often than not, we'd encounter some sort of problem. So maybe a dead end, or worse, a big mud puddle that we'd have to trudge through with no way around, my shoes getting wet, and a very muddy dog. And I just hoped that I had a towel in the car so my car would not get destroyed. So you either have to trudge through this big muddy path, and it takes you a long time to get there, and you have to deal with a muddy dog on the other end, or you have to backtrack, and you end up losing a whole bunch of time just because you thought, you know what, I'll take the shortcut. The shortcut didn't get you faster. It cost you more than if you just stuck to the original path. Okay, so I've spent the first 5-6 minutes of this podcast talking about all the things wrong with the supposed shortcuts you see all the time in this industry, the swipe files, the custom GPTs, what looks like the faster path, and shared why they don't really work. But I promised email marketing shortcuts in this episode. So what does a real one look like? And I'm going to give you 3 to ponder. The first real shortcut is a big picture plan where every email has a job. So this is not a rigid, locked-in content calendar that you spend hours poring over and just abandon because it's too hard. Instead, it gives you an outline or a framework sharing what each email is trying to do before you sit down to write it. So every email you send should fit into one of 3 categories. It's either helping your audience, it's trying to get some engagement, or it is a sales-focused email. Pretty much all emails fall into that category, but we need to be strategic about the timing so that we can get that maximum impact for those sales. We need to help them make an informed decision. So when we know what we are trying to do, what offer we are leading to eventually, and what we're trying to do strategically with our list, the purpose each email it needs to fulfill, the emails then start to write themselves. The blank page problem disappears because you're not starting from nothing, you are starting from a purpose. And this is why it's a long-term shortcut. You plan it once. You look at what's coming up in your business and what your audience needs now, and you map out which emails are doing which job, what they need to do over the next few months. That's a 20-minute planning session. You don't need to go into super detail here. But you never open your laptop wondering what to say. You've already made a decision. You've just got to write it. Now, if you compare that to the swipe file approach, you still have to work out. You got the swipe file, but you're like, oh, okay, well, what do I want to say? What template fits this? How do I make it sound more like me? And then you're just hoping it connects. That's not a shortcut. That's the long way around. Instead, if you flipped it and you've done that time, you've looked at that big picture strategy, maybe, and you're struggling with the words, then you can look for specific swipe files that fulfill that purpose that you're looking for if you are still struggling with that writing step. So it doesn't write that thing off entirely, but you're not starting from the wrong place. So quick practical takeaway, if you think this is you, just look at the next 4 emails you intend on sending and think about what job is each one going to do? What is the topic? And if the answer is I just need to send something because I said I needed to be consistent, that's your sign that you need to go, okay, what am I trying to achieve over this next 4 weeks? And what purpose does each email need to fulfill? Shortcut number 2 is an email design template, but one built on best practice. So this one is definitely a proper shortcut because once it's built once, it lasts. But most people are doing a version of this that doesn't count. So the shortcut is, in true form, is that you build your email design once using your email marketing software templates, not Canva, and you do it correctly from best practice foundations, and then you don't build it again until you do a rebrand or you add an extra really important element. Every email from then on should just take 5 minutes because you're literally loading the template, removing content blocks you don't want or adding in ones that you do, and fill it in. And the key word here is that you're doing this correctly. Not that I grabbed the default template from my email platform, not that I found something that looked nice elsewhere, but it's built on the things that affect whether your email gets delivered, read, and clicked. Does it work on mobile phones? Does it survive dark mode? Does it have digital accessibility built into it? Whether the image to text ratio is working well. Are you taking into account deliverability practices here? When those things are right, the template works and it becomes your biggest time saver because more people are seeing your emails and therefore more people will be opening, more people clicking, more people buying. But if you just go and try to get a template from somewhere that's, you don't know is built on best practice or that you don't know works everywhere, then all of a sudden you're doing more work and you're putting in this effort, but you don't know if everyone can see it. So my challenge to you here is go look at your most recent email in your inbox on your phone in dark mode. And what does it look like? So not in your preview mode on your screen. Open it, see what happens if you don't, turn on images. What do people actually see? And maybe do it on someone else's phone too. If you're on iPhone and they're on Android, see what comes up. Now, the third real shortcut is an automation that runs without you. So, you know me, I love shortcuts. I love automations because they are the ultimate. And this is the one that most people know they should have and haven't built. And to be honest, a lot of people may have built, that welcome series. But there are so many automations that you might not even realize you can add to your business that will not only, create more conversions for you, but just streamline your business practices. So an automation is an email or a series of emails that go automatically based on something a subscriber did or something you know about them. So they signed up or they made a purchase, they clicked a specific link. When that happens, the email goes out without you doing anything. So the reason this is very powerful is because it's all about timing. So when someone signs up to your list, that's when they are most interested. They've said yes to hearing from you and they're looking for a solution now. If the only emails you sent to a right were, your more newsletter style or regular ones, then you're missing that moment, that magic moment when someone's interested every single time. So you might get back to them a little bit later, but the interest has cooled down and they've forgotten why they signed up. So an automation captures the moment every time. Whether you are out and about at school pickup in the middle of a soccer game, or just something crazy is going on in your life and you didn't get around to writing an email that week. You build it once, you build it well, and then it runs. And as I mentioned, there's way more than just a welcome series and abandoned carts that you can add into your automation once you understand the power and how they are built. This is one that definitely compounds, which is way better than what swipe files can get. But you also still need to be strategic here. Like, yes, you can get some swipe files or scripts for a welcome series, for abandoned carts, etc. But you still need to understand the purpose, the big picture plan of those emails and how they work to achieve the best results. So think about, if someone signs up to your list today, what do they receive? When do they get it? And is it just one email or is it a few? So this is, if you don't have that in place, that's your next valuable move. If you already have a welcome series in place, I encourage you to check out what other automations you can add. Have a think about, some big admin step or pain point that you're regularly needing to contact people for, and how can you simplify that for yourself? So there are 3 real shortcuts that you can use, not the surface level ones. So one is a big picture plan where every email has a job. Number 2 is an email design template that is built on best practice. And shortcut 3 are, of course, automations. They all have one thing in common. You do the work once and it keeps paying you back. So that's the mindset shift that's worth making. So we need to stop looking for that thing that makes this week easier, that makes it quicker for you to write that email and sending something just for the sake of sending it, and instead starting to look for the thing that makes every week hereafter easier. If you want a head start on all of that, and if you're like, oh, there's this whole angle to email marketing that I hadn't thought about, Beyond Words is where to begin. This is my free 24-minute training, and it gives you that full picture and the knowledge that no swipe file was ever going to give you. So you can grab that now anytime at yaelkeown.com/beyond. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear from you about what you've enjoyed from this episode or what you want to know more about in future episodes. Let me know over on Instagram. I'm at yaelkeown, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honour that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.